Hello, Star Wars Galaxy of Hero players. This is Andy Teshordo, and today, welcome to 2020, and my first video, aside from finishing up October of 2019, not 18, I'm skipping years, 2019's GAC that I finally was able to put up. I'm going to be covering a quick new series of what characters in the game that could do with some touch-ups, light reworks to actual, kind of full-blown reworks. I know there's been a bunch of people doing like 10 characters, 20 characters, 15 of characters that, deserve to be reworked. And I'm like, I'm just going to go all out and be like, here's the next few weeks of characters that deserve to be reworked. And I'm going to be starting off with Scoundrels and Bounty Hunters. Because when you go down that tab, the first thing, aside from the 501st, they're meta dominant, so I'm not going to cover them, is Bounty Hunters. And I'm like, I'm going to lump in Scoundrels with the Bounty Hunters. So, and yes, you probably saw, I kind of showed off the Bounty Hunters early on, and Scoundrels, but I'm just going to talk about them really quickly. To show off, what characters I see could do with some light touch-ups here and there. I thought of having Jango Fett on the list. Unfortunately, Jango Fett is really good as a bounty hunter leader. He's like one of the best two leads. Yes, I could see him having maybe a 30% counter chance added into his kit, or at least maybe a little more damage against Jedi, because he did fight Jedi, especially if you go off Legends lore. Jango Fett also, would fight Jedi with a rock. He would pick up a rock and fight him while they have the lightsaber. He was that good, and at least in Legends. And this game pulls from both Legends and canon, so it makes sense. On top of the fact, I can also see Jango's lead, being knocked down to maybe 15 instead of 20 to getting his contract off, so. But let me cover some of the characters I could see needing some sort of rework. First off, I will say the first faction, ever since they reworked them and added, new characters, Bounty Hunters is the only faction thus far to have every single character have some sort of leadership. And that is a phenomenal opportunity to, play around with some team compositions. So Aura Singh, she's great in the Sith raid, especially phase 3, and any of the raid phases that have the topple effect. Especially Relic 7, she could definitely dish out a ton of damage. But really, I want to talk about her. The biggest things I wouldn't mind seeing added to her to spice her up is her leadership is based on her contract is use an ability while buffed 10 times. Yes, once I see this updated a little bit, they could up it to 15. But use an ability buffed 10 times. I'd say keep it that way, though, personally. But have Hustle, grant, like, evasion up to, other bounty hunter allies or scoundrel allies. Aside from that, leave that at that. Nothing too much there. The leader is unique, but at the same time, I have a slight problem with it. Aside from having R2 in the team, what scoundrels are going to get the benefit of being stealthed? Other than, or Newt Gunray dying and coming back stealthed. Not much. That's why I'm thinking they could change it to where bounty hunter and scoundrel allies have 20% offense, add a couple more stats, because I'm a big supporter of the idea of adding some leaderships having an extra stat boost or two outside of the contract part, but add a stat boost or two. But yeah, bounty hunters and scoundrel allies have 20% offense, 20% like accuracy, 20% critical avoidance, something like that. Nothing too game breaking. And then while they're stealth, they have plus 10 on top of that. So regardless if they're stealth or not, they're still getting some sort of benefit, And then if, at the start of the battle or whenever a bounty hunter ally defeats an enemy, the bounty hunter attacker still gets stealth. And maybe non-bounty hunter scoundrels could have like a 50% chance to gain stealth. So she's supporting bounty hunters more than scoundrels, but she could still have that scoundrel support synergy. Also, one thing I was thinking they could do is Maybe while they're buffed, or they could give some sort of like regeneration mechanic to this character, have a third and final regenerating mechanic-esque leadership. But hers is based on doing stealth stuff, so like maybe when bounty hunters recover 5% health and protection when a stealth ally damages an enemy, something like that. If they're stealth, they're going to damage an enemy. If not, then yeah. So that's just something, to think about updating her kit. That's what I would like to see. All bounty hunters gain 50 counter chance. That's always nice. And then recover protection and gain turn meter whenever an enemy is defeated. That's fine. Keep it that way. But aside from that, I wouldn't mind seeing just a light boost to this leadership, just to give Aura Singh another unique. Especially since Aura Singh and even Cad Bane and a few others actually worked with non-bounty hunters, Scoundrel-based characters. And then, yeah, I don't see too much more of her unique being changed other than maybe adding, 10% max health, max protection. It's something small. I'm not saying like something game breaking, just something small to boost her up a little bit to make her more viable. So that is Aura Singh. Next is Dengar. There's not much to do with him. Like, I will admit, I do like his leadership. I don't like it as the fact it's not useful. But if you think about it, bounty hunter allies have 50 health still. Okay, that's fine. In addition, all enemies have negative 50 critical damage. What team? I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of bounty hunter team if we get like maybe 5 to 10 more bounty hunters that would utilize Dengar's leader. Because in addition, all enemies have 50% negative 50 crit damage. A lot of teams, Sith Empire, I know they probably wouldn't ever become meta, but Sith Empire, Gas, and a few other teams, they keep getting all this, 50 crit damage. So here's a way to counter that. And then when the payout's active, all enemies have negative 20 offense. So it's a reduction of damage. So this is really huge. Granted, yes, the leadership I know is an Omega leadership, not compared to Aura Singh's Zeta. But having this leadership as a like small catch-all, like maybe even have Scoundrel allies add that 50% health still, and maybe just add 50 defense and leave it at that. Nothing too big, but just something small. Because then it would actually have kind of a 3 stat boost swing, 50 health still defense, and then enemies get negative 50 crit damage. So it wouldn't be too bad to have. And then, of course, I wouldn't mind seeing his unique. His unique's really good. I still would not mind Zeta-ing his unique, getting that health and protection recovery. So, and that's actually 2 of the bounty hunters that actually have health still in their kit, which is kind of interesting. Zam Wessel. This one's unique. First off, I would have loved to have seen this turned into a Zeta, just to actually have a thermal detonator bounty hunter team. Maybe even have more attempts that bounty hunters actually have a chance to, maybe apply like a 50% chance to apply a thermal when they use in their ability. Something. But then they recover health and protection whenever an enemy is dealt damage by a thermal detonator. That is nice. It's dealt damage. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe like a 2% chance when, maybe a 2% protection or health recovery when a thermal is applied instead, because you can apply more than them being dealt damage. I don't know. I haven't really, used Zam Wessel a lot, and it just seems like you got to wait those turns, and sometimes those turns you just die too quickly against some teams. So I wouldn't mind seeing some, maybe something to maybe, they do negative, they'd have 15% less damage they deal if they're, inflicted with a thermal detonator. The potency could go up to 30%, maybe even add, 30% tenacity, something, just one more stat, nothing too big, but just change up this leadership to being a Zeta would be kind of nice. This one's kind of nice. This actually bases on Scoundrels instead of bounty hunters. And there's another character you may or may not have saw, which I will get to, with this. This one, her payout is kind of meh. Some of these payouts I feel like could be boosted, even if they added like an extra stat or two, like, crit avoidance, accuracy, evasion. Oh, maybe not evasion, but like health steal, something small to make it not game breaking. would be kind of nice. A lot of the bounty hunters could gain, accuracy as is an extra added effect to their kit. Embo, let's talk about him for a minute. There's something about him that he's just underwhelming. And one, it's he's missing his pet, his pet Anuba Marok. One, they could add him as a summonable pet, and then him and the summonable pet would get the can't be critically hit kind of thing. Where he can have the Zeta, and then if he's in the lead, he auto summons. If not, he summons him later on. Or they could just have him another character added in to work with Embo. He's a tank Scoundrel, but he'll be probably one of the only bounty hunters that would not get a leadership, because who's gonna follow a dog? He'll just lay there and yeah. Even though I know there is the alpha thing going on, but just having him as a character to, having that character, the pet, be in the game would be kind of cool, either as a summonable or something like that. That's just the biggest thing that I could see added to this kit. Aside from that, I would just say 50 defense added to his leadership. It's not going to be that much game breaking, but at least it's going to be, just a little bit better to add to the bounty hunter leadership. So that's Embo. Cad Bane, it's tricky to know what to do with this guy. Like, cool, he's the one lead. He's, I think, one of the only characters that has plus 100% potency. Now, granted, I would not mind seeing this potency also added to Scoundrel allies, because in Clone Wars, there's a few times he worked with non-bounty hunter Scoundrels, and it would be kind of cool to see him actually work with, some Scoundrels, get some more. Gaining advantage is kind of again, this is another leadership that could benefit from another status effect. The rewards kind of inflicting debuffs makes sense, but that 100 potency is huge. I say that's like the hugest thing. Like, I feel like that's just two effects in one kind of thing. I'm not gonna count like Darth Nihilus' leadership, the 100 to 150 health steal, but then again, his leadership's unique and needs that. But where this one is, 100 potency, that's just huge right off the bat. Granted, I could still see something else added to his kit just to make it a little better. His payout, I feel like, is just, his 25% evasion, great. He could have gotten a critical avoidance and accuracy, and it wouldn't have hurt him. But inflicting a thermal detonator on an attacking enemy when he evades, I would also add maybe being critically hit, just to, have some more thermal synergies so he could be under Zam Wessel as the thermal leadership. So those my thoughts on the bounty hunters. I'm going to quickly move into the Scoundrels. Just Clone Wars Chewie just needs a rework. His Zeta is kind of garbage. I feel like his Zeta should also add recovers 50% health and 50% protection, gains defense up, tenacity up, and something else for 3 turns. And instead of 50% chance to gain 25% turn meter, he should gain like 35% turn meter. That's it. And then maybe other allies gaining, some sort of like turn meter and some defense stats or something like that. But he could also have synergy with Wookiees whenever they bring the Wookiee faction into the game. And, maybe he can grant some other, characters, other Wookiees, turn meter, defense up, stuff like that. Something like that to make this leader unique more amazing. His leadership obviously needs to be changed to 50% defense. I feel like this could also have a benefit from 50% max health, or 50% tenacity, or 50% crit avoidance, something just to, give the leadership a uniqueness to it. Also, if you realize this is one of those catch-all leaderships, which are phenomenal for the game. Rex has it, Finn has it, not Poe, there's a lot. Clone Wars Chewie has it, IG-88 has it. There's a lot of characters that have these catch-all leaderships. Some benefit their own faction and then, benefit a little bit, like in Rex and Finn. But these ones, just catch-all. Savage, those leaderships are unique. I hope they'd keep this leadership around. It'd be kind of nice. His taunt could be better, like maybe taunt health percent up, or heal over time up, crit avoidance, something to give his taunt more unique. uniqueness. His basic is fine, actually. I like his basic as is. I don't see any change to that. The one last thing I would see added to him is a unique, just to give him some more like basic status boosts, like accuracy. Give him some accuracy. It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. I think accuracy doesn't really affect as well. I don't know. I've read something up, but I didn't really read into it. Stormtrooper Han. He needs leadership. Either Zeta lead or just Omega and give him something else, like maybe 50% defense while 50% health up, and then 50% offense while below 50% health. Man, I'm having a hard time reading that. But Plan B is kind of a unique leadership. It's another catch-all, and I forgot to mention this, but yeah, it's another catch-all leadership. So I wouldn't mind seeing this being a possibility added in. And it's unique enough to where it doesn't need that much more to make it viable. Maybe, do something similar to Clone Wars Chewie, where it grants, health steal up or protection over time, something to make it unique. His Zeta's great. He's starting to become more viable again. His taunt's great. He doesn't need much, but he could just need just a light touch up to make him better. And I think one of the things would be his leadership. They just skipped over his leadership when they reworked him. Here's the thermal detonator person I'm talking about. Mob Enforcer. So honestly, dirty fighting. Come on, pull up. Dirty fighting makes the most sense. Damn it. Afflicting defense down for 2 turns. Honestly, I could see it offense down because it's a tank. You don't want to be damaged too much, but that's not bad. Maybe if it inflicts offense down on enemies that are inflicted with thermal detonator, something like that. But she has her own, inflict a thermal detonator, so that could be a benefit on her. One of the reasons why I'm actually wouldn't mind, seeing this reworked is her unique is, pretty solid aside from the offense part. But 15% max health for each living Scoundrel ally. You throw on her bounty hunter team, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. 75% max health is huge. Maybe getting some defense in there, maybe some tenacity. But I could see her being a taunting tank that taunts whenever a thermal detonator is placed, kind of like how Malik is taunts when when a fear or I think death mark is placed, something like that. Just something where thermals are placed. A thermal is placed, she taunts for a turn or two, just to make her more of that annoying taunting character. On top of the fact, it would be cool to see her also maybe have, maybe 3% health and protection recovery whenever a thermal is placed, just to give her some survivability on a thermal bounty hunter team. And she would also, if you think about it, she could be, useful under a Jawa team, because she would also mitigate some of the damage, but at the same time, bugs do, against Jawas, that's unique. But, I wouldn't mind seeing Mob Enforcer being unique. That's why I kind of have her 7-star Gear 8, because I'm hoping that they could do something like that. Also, I'm kind of, going to try to make a makeshift team with her, Watt, and a few other, yeah. Gamu, I'm sure Urzatron would love this character to be reworked. Just what he needs the most. Maybe, he gains taunt and retribution. That's huge. Is he needs a unique. He needs a unique. Just give him a unique, a Zeta unique, or even just a regular Omega unique. Doesn't have to be Zetaed. And, give him some, a little bit more survivability, a little more offense, something to make him more a unique of a kit. And aside from that, I could also see this character being getting the faction of the Grimornians, a Grimornian faction. It's just a small 5-6 character faction. We already got, the the Rancor raid where you have 2 extra different Grimornians there. There's also an extra, a couple of Grimornians in the marquee events when you did back in the day. You could probably look up videos where you could see Knights when you were getting the KOTOR characters, Bastila, Jolie, Jahani, those characters who were running into Grimornians on Terrace. And yeah, you would actually have these, characters. There's more, I think there's at least 5 different Grimornians I found. And it'd be cool to see this as a faction. Maybe instead of using Rex for Urza, he could actually do a Grimornian faction with Visas. Be interesting. Captain Han Solo. This one's unique. Well, first off, I feel like he should be a leader or a healer. Let's see. I want to see his mastery. I forgot what it is. Yeah. Crit chance, crit damage, deflect, and dodge chance. So it's the special and physical evasion. So that's not too bad. But healer, maybe do a little bit better healing. Like dispel all debuffs on Han and target other ally. That's fine. And they both recover health equal to 40% of Han's max health and gain 25% turn meter. Then if the target's full, they recover 20% health or protection. They could go up to 30. So yeah, and this thing can actually, if you're going against a heavy debuff team, but the cooldown, oh my gosh, the cooldown should go to at least 7. At least 7. That is just way too much. Way too much. And then this one should go down to 4. Whenever a random, revive a random defeated ally at 1% health. Why 1? Do 30%. It's a bit better. And then if that is a rebel ally, they recover health. It should be rebel and scoundrel. It would make more sense, even though, he is a scoundrel. And it would actually help support the scoundrel team to have another reviver, even though there is the fact of, Vandor Chewie. But there's also, Captain Han. He also, pairs in with Jyn Erso because she's a rebel that revives. So, maybe 30% health, and, instead of 1% health, that's small. That's just asking for him to just die like it from a random weak AoE. So that could, be kind of nice. And if they're rebel or scoundrel, they recover 50% health and maybe 25% protection, just to boost him up a little bit. And then we got one more character, and then I will let you guys go. Is Enfys Nest, and you're like, whoa, Andatish, what are you thinking? And Enfys Nest is phenomenal. You even have a Gear 13 Relic 2 Enfys Nest. I'm like, yes, I do. At this current time, of course. I may have her eventually go up to 4 in the next, month or two. But, yes, Enfys Nest does deserve to be reworked. However, her current abilities does not. What she needs is a leadership and to lead her own group, the Cloud Riders. I think it was the Cloud Riders. That group where even Warwick Davis, his character was in there, Wessel or something. But we need that small faction into Galaxy of Heroes. So that's kind of a nod off to, hey, get this faction into the game. But not just that, it would give herself a leadership. So you don't always have to rely on Kira as a lead to fight. There's some sort of leadership that she works with. But she works with Cloud Riders only, and she would be a Cloud Rider or whatever that specific faction would be. But just to be a light leadership boost, it would be probably Zeta-able to give us a leadership that would be small and unique, and it'd be a small faction, kind of like Phoenix is, kind of like Imperial Troopers are in some form or fashion. So, but that's just my thoughts on Nest, just getting a leadership. That's the only thing I would see with her kit, because the rest of her kit is phenomenal. I love using her in GA and 3v3 and 5v5 against what's they're called? Jedi Bastila teams, and then Ewoks and Phoenix and other random rebel teams. I even Zeta'd and Gear Relic 2'd my Count Dooku just to have help, because sometimes you don't have enough Infiness to go around, or Wampa to go around against these random backwall weak rebel teams, and you just want to one-shot them. And Dooku's there for that too. But yes, Nest is just there for that. But that's my thoughts on Scoundrels and Bounty Hunters. And my wife's calling me. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Scoundrels and Bounty Hunter teams. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.